Oh, what's going? Where am I? There's got to be a light around here somewhere. What in the tar? What? I'm tired. What the hell? What? I got a knife and a candle torch. What's going on here? Like, oh wait a minute, here's a remote. This has to do something. Stupid. Who the fuck are you? Don't stand there. I demand answers. Like, are you responsible for this?
Hello, Brett. Or as they call you around the office, Bert. I want to play a game. You don't know me, but I know you. I'm sure you don't know where you're at. But I'll tell you where you might be. You might be in the room that you die in. So far in what can loosely be called your YouTube career of about 6 months, you've watched and you've reviewed many movies. However, at no point in your life have you seen the movie Pulp Fiction. How could you possibly know what a golden reel truly is if you haven't seen so many of the golden reels out there? Are you willing to save your life by sitting in this room and watching several shitty-ass movies until you're grateful to watch the good ones?
That's not fair. That's not my fault. I'm poor, man. Like, I can't own Pulp Fiction. That's why I watch the crappy movies. Like, because they're cheaper. Like, what? Like, how do you know my name is Bert?
Don't ask questions you don't want the answer to, Bert. For the first movie you're going to have to watch, you're going to be going trick-or-treating with Busta Rhymes. Of course, I'm referring to Halloween Resurrection.
Oh, God, no.
Live or die, Bert. Make your choice.
What's going on, guys and gals, and welcome to Good Reel Hunting, where we hunt for the good reels so you don't have to. It's your boy Brad, the Brett Man's right over here, and we have exciting news. Okay, what is it? Oh, let me tell you about it. And Spiral, the Book of Saul, was pushed back. It's officially coming out May the 14th. We were waiting to see if this thing was actually going to happen or not. It looks like they are. They even moved it up a week, so we're jacked. So we wanted to go ahead and get started with our Saul review series, which is something I've been looking forward to for some time, and I know the Bertman has too. Are you excited, Brett, or what?
Dude, I saw this coming a mile away.
Oh, yes, you did.
And throughout this Saw franchise series, we are going to be working this series like a big old jigsaw puzzle, one piece at a time.
You got that right, my friend. It's going to be a fun time. We're going to be releasing these things periodically up until the release of Spiral. And then at that point, we're going to rank the series with Spiral included. And we might even throw in some other episodes between now and then as well. Just kind of little random discussions or whatever we feel like doing between.
You know we're going to do a top 10 traps.
Top 10 traps. We might rank the endings at some point. There might even be a slash it out. We'll see what happens. Or a saw it out. If
Jigsaw.
You will. Jigsaw is ready, but nonetheless, I'm excited. Let's hear about this first Saw movie, man.
All right, the first Saw movie. Let's go with the cast. It is Lee Winnell, Carrie Ells, Danny Glover, and of course the legendary horror icon of Tobin Bell, and it's directed by another horror icon in the director world of James Wan.
Got that right, my friend. This was kind of the introduction to James Wan and James Wan and Lee Winnell, sort of as a writer. And of course, it came out in 2004. It's about these two dudes that are strapped up by their ankles via chains to some nasty ass pipes in a nasty ass bathroom somewhere that they don't know. And they wake up there with their foot's chained there, and they just got to figure their way out of there. And as things progress, obviously they figure out more and more about what's going on there, and they eventually, figure out what's going on there. And it's a freaking story, and we're excited to talk about it.
Dude, absolutely. And wasn't this movie came out in 2003 as like a short movie? And then the people were really excited about that. Had really great potential, so they gave Lee Winnell and James Wan like the keys to the kingdom and a $1.1 million budget to make a movie. And damn, did they make a movie with that much money?
Right, you are. I remember watching the special features for this thing a long time ago, or commentary. So I can't remember, but I remember Lee Winnell and James Wan. Well, I guess they were buddies from film school or something like that, and they got together and they were like, you know what? Let's go ahead and just make a movie. And they said, all right, let's write a story first. And they started doing that, and they started with the idea of two dudes waking up in a bathroom chained to things, and they just kind of worked the story out from there. They just kind of talked it out. And pretty much wrote this bad boy together. And then James Wan obviously took the helm of the first one and then launched his infamous career. He's freaking on top of the world now in the horror game, obviously. So this is
bring us wonderful movies as Insidious and The Conjuring, and hell, he even did Aquaman for the hell of it. It really did launch pad, and it all started with this movie.
He even did a Fast and Furious movie, numero 7. But anyway, let's get into this thing, man. There's a lot to like about this thing, so I'm excited to talk about it.
All right, let's go to them positives. And I want to just say the first positive, man, is just the story itself. Just like this, like, unbelievable, because you're automatically intrigued immediately of just what the hell is going on. And just throughout the entire movie, it just like slowly gives you a little bit at a time, just so that yourself can solve the piece of the puzzle as well, which I just love when you can have that much fun as an audience member. And that's usually for like a thriller and all that. And this is, you can consider this a little bit of a thrill ride too, but this is like the first one that I really known of to like be like a full on horror movie. And it's just amazing, dude. Like, I cannot say enough nice words about this movie. Like, with the story, the setting was awesome because it's greedy, it's dirty. We got that disgusting ass toilet, and then you feel that, and it's just incredible.
You're totally right, man. That's exactly what I was going to say. Just the writing from these two individuals, Lee Winnell and James Wan, is fantastic. The way it captivates you from the very first opening shot where Lee Winnell wakes up in the bathtub and he turns on the lights, or I guess Captain Dr. Loomis, God dang, Dr. Gordon turns on the lights, and they wake up and they realize that they're chained to these pipes, and they're like, okay, what's going on here? In some bathroom, some foreign bathroom they've never seen. That's such a cool opening. Like, this is, and then we experience things with the actors here, with the performers here. We experience what they're figuring out. Like, they wake up, they don't know each other.
Adam and Dr. Gordon.
Yeah, Dr. Gordon. Yeah, I don't know where Dr. Loomis came from, but yeah, Dr. Gordon is. They wake up together. They figure out, okay, we don't know each other. We don't know what we're doing here, and this little things start to come together. Like, they find the tape. And then they find the tape recorder. They do the lasso thing. They get the tape recorder, and they play the tapes, and they're like, "Oh gosh, this is hitting the fan." And then the little, "Oh yeah, follow your heart" kind of happens. And maybe I should have checked it there first, where he's looking in the toilet and stuff. Yeah. And they just little clues here and there. It's literally, it plays out like an escape room for the audience, and it's fantastic.
And we got a damn body in the middle of the room too. Just looked like a dude blew his freaking head off, and like. Well, dude, how the hell did he get there? Like,
yeah, it just adds. Yeah, that just adds, exactly. It adds to what happened to this guy. What's going to happen to these guys? This is, I mean, it's honestly, it's amazing. The way this was written out, the suspense and the thrills and the mystery behind it. Like, it just leaves your mind wondering what happened to this dude laying in the floor with his brains blown out. and what's going to happen to our protagonist here. And it's awesome, man. It's one of the coolest settings of all time in horror, and the atmosphere there is fantastic. You can see the dust in the bathroom. You can see their clothes get all dusty. There's shit all over the freaking toilet, and there's it's just gross in there. You can feel it. Like it's a nasty place. I don't even want to be on the floor in there, and much less chained up to the damn pipes. Like it's gross, man. It's absolutely the rusty pipes. Like it's awful. And I love the way it sets that up, and then it kind of plays out like an escape room for our audience and for our characters. It's cool because they're like, oh, here's a tape, here's a key. What's the key go to? I don't know. And then the X marks the spot. Later on, they freaking knock the wall out. And here comes a gun or a bullet and some cigarettes. And it's just
the pictures of Dr. Gordon's wife and daughter like getting tied up and all that. Like, oh crap, why does Adam have this picture? Like,
absolutely, yeah. And yeah, exactly. And just all these pieces to the puzzle just come together for the audience in real time with the characters in the movie, and it's awesome. And we don't know shit. And then obviously Dr. Gordon eventually realizes he doesn't want us to cut through our chains. He wants us to cut through our feet. And he's like, I think I might know who's doing this for you. I think I might know who's doing this to us. Oh, what are you doing? What are you talking about? It's awesome. And then we figure out more about Jigsaw, which that's my next positive. If you want to talk about him a little.
Oh my gosh. Let's talk about the man, the myth, the legend of the horror industry of one Mr. Tobin Bell playing John Kramer, aka Jigsaw. Holy crap, dude. This guy is such an icon, and his voice for the classic dude right there, just the most like everybody can recognize, like probably a non-horror fan can even tell you who that is right there for exactly which movie it came from. And Tobin Bell is the reason for that, to bring the John Kramer character to life. Again, the voice is great of, hello, you don't know me, but I know you. I want to play a game. Like, I obviously can't do it, but just the way he does it is spectacular. It creeps you the hell out. You immediately get intimidated and worried about the victim that Jigsaw has captured. And just his thought process of like what he thinks he's doing is like right. And technically he's right. He's not committing a murder. Like the victims are actually murdering themselves. But it's just so interesting to us. So I have to like dig into that like aspect of a villain. And just as John Kramer, and just like the look scrape, the robe, and the pig mat, like all of it is just so fantastic and so interesting, and just really gets you invested into this movie.
Okay, so he's kind of based off the character. I don't know if he's actually based off of him, but he's very similar to John Doe in Seven, right? With the way he's finding these victims that have committed some some wrongdoings or whatever, and he's using that against them. And I think that's kind of what. I don't know if that was inspiration or not, but it's kind of the same thing. And I love Seven, so I love this. And this is kind of a more fleshed out version of that, and it's fantastic. So it's he's got motives, and he, again, like you said, he thinks he's right in what he's doing, and it is what it is. Like he's trying to make people more grateful to be alive. Oh, what a noble thing he's doing, but he's doing it via cutting people up with razor wire or making them do it themselves, I guess. But it's awesome, and not to mention the freaking the puppet that he created here. Billy the puppet is creepy as a motherfucker, dude. Like that's a great creation, and it's become an icon, a modern icon of horror, which is awesome. And also, like you don't know who the killer, like you don't know anything about the killer throughout this first movie. Like you got to think of it. Of course, now we've seen all the sequels, we've seen how it all plays out. But in a vacuum, this first movie here, you don't know anything about him other than what the characters are telling us, what Dr. Gordon knows because he was once a suspect himself. Like he knows very limited about him. We don't know who it actually is at this point. It could be anybody. And it's just, it's awesome to have so much mystique about your killer in this movie because you don't know what he's capable of. You don't know what he's done before. You don't know what he's planning on doing. You don't know what he's thought out. You don't know what he hasn't thought out. And, obviously as things progress, we're like, okay, every angle here has been pre-thought out by this guy. We figure that out, but we don't know as time goes on, like how much he actually has thought things out until, later on, obviously.
And I know a lot of people are going to get mad for me saying this, but just a lot of people really call Saul just the start the what we call the torture porn genre for horror. Which, yeah, I really don't like that name either, because like it's not really true torture like freaking Hostel was. If you're gonna call
No,
anything
yeah.
torture porn, you gotta call Hostel that. So I hate when Saw gets involved in that particular style of horror, but I can also see why people would assume that as well. But and plus, that's just a compliment too. That one movie just kickstarts like a whole new like particular subgenre in the horror genre. And so Saul has a lot to do with that. And it's just awesome when a single movie can just make such a big impact in the decade of horror, and it made a big impact in the 2000s.
Totally. And yeah, you're right. I think this first Saw movie gets that tag undeservingly so. Yeah, there's gore in it, but obviously the franchise does get to that point later on. Like the more movies that they make, the more gory it gets. This one it's a story though. It's a suspenseful thriller. Again, yeah, okay, you could maybe throw it in that category, but it's not the most gory movie you've ever seen. Like there's one moment, obviously towards the end with the foot getting chopped off, where it's pretty gross, but like at the same time, it's not all over the place in this movie. Most of this movie is a thrill ride. And again, like I said, like an escape room, and I think it's quite good. And again, you can see some of James Wan's camera work here and everything from the beginning, from his very first movie. There's great camera work in this, guys.
Yeah, camera work, lighting, like. Just,
oh yeah,
he just knows exactly just what the horror genre needs, and to create that actual scare, not like the whole like. Ooh, the jump scare and all that. Just like your actual, like he builds it up for an actual legit scare. Kind of like when Adam got captured with the whole flat. He's flashing the camera at that door, and then that's when the pig comes out. Like that scared the hell out of me on first watch. Like that's what James Wan. I always love his movies because he gives me those actual built up scares versus the cheap old jump scares that I just get pissed off because like they don't scare me. They just get like that tiny little reaction.
Absolutely. Yeah. He does a great job of building that suspense up. I really like the detective tap and seeing storyline that they have going on, kind of parallel to Gordon and Adam over there. It kind of gives you a little bit of a cat and mouse thing at times, which is really interesting. And it adds a little bit, like I said, I like stories like this where you have your main protagonist fighting the bad guy essentially in that storyline. Then you have the side story of another good guy trying to find the killer or whatever before it's too late. And I think that always adds a little bit, for me, it always adds a little bit of fun to it. It adds a little bit of hope for our protagonist. And it just, it's good. At one point you think that they got him, like they reach him at the warehouse, like, oh yeah, they're going to freaking nail this guy. And then they realize like how freaking smart this guy is and how thought out he's got his plan. And obviously Singh gets his head blown off and Tap. He goes off the deep end real quick.
Oh, dude, so quick. And Danny Glover, phenomenal job in his performance in this movie as well. Just being that like obsessed detective to figure out like to stop Jigsaw, like, and he just does a great job selling it and all that. And I loved his interactions with Carrie Ells in this movie too, like in the interrogation room, and to force Dr. Gordon, to watch Amanda's story, which that was great too. And we'll get into a little bit more detail here in a segment that we're going to do in this review series later on. But I just love everybody, and Carrie Ells as Dr. Gordon. Fantastic job. Like he is a very seasoned actor, and just for him to tackle on this particular movie, he did a really great job.
Yeah, I think I like Danny Glover being in this thing quite a bit. He adds a lot of credibility to this movie that you would have otherwise kind of struggled to get. And I think between him and Carrie Ells being in the movie, they spent a lot of their budget on that, which is why the car chases are as weird as they are.
Yeah.
But that's
which
okay.
was been a negative for the longest time. But as you'll probably see here in a little bit, I moved it to the mix section.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with it being a negative because it is at the end of the day. But like, it's a part of the charm of the movie at this point. But yeah, aside from Jigsaw, like my biggest freaking pause of this thing is that damn ending, man. Like just
my god,
you know what I'm talking about?
Dude, I think actually the first time I watched this movie from my memory, you actually got me to watch it with you because
Hell
you
yeah,
wanted to
dude,
see my
because-
reaction for that third act.
Exactly. It's freaking badass. You get this. So first off, we'll start off by saying that you have Zepp in there, right? And he's your
Wait,
fake bad guy.
before you keep going, spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert, of course. Of course, you get Zepp in there. You figure out, okay, I can see you. Does the doctor know you're at home with his wife? You get all that, and you get the picture of Zepp in there, and then Dr. Gordon finds it, and he says, "Okay, Zepp, you bastard! I'm gonna kill you." He says that, and we figure out who it is, but it's not really him. I thought that was a great red herring for this whole thing because that's a nice way to start this whole process off. Even on rewatch, every time you see that, that's awesome. But you get this, and obviously we don't find that out here for a minute, but the whole ending, I think it's edited perfect, where you have Dr. Gordon in the bathroom chained up and shit, and then the phone's ringing. He's trying to, and it's his wife calling back, right? And he's desperate at this point to talk to his wife and get her to make sure she's okay after
because the last thing he heard was a gunshot.
Exactly.
And he thought that his wife and child were dead, and that's why he was just starting to freak the hell out.
Exactly. And he totally loses it. And this is his best performance of the movie, like right here. This is the best part of Cary Elwes' performance. He loses it. The phone's ringing. He's like, "Oh, no, I got to get it." And then Adam's freaking out on the other side of the room. He's like, "No, doctor, no, no." And he's like freaking out. And he's like, my family needs me. And then like he can't reach it, even though if he thought about it, he probably could have reached it with something, but he wasn't thinking clearly.
Yeah, take off his damn blue dress shirt and freaking do the whole thing they did at the beginning to get the tape recorder.
Exactly, but he didn't do that. Instead, he's like, "Okay, it's time to freaking chop off the damn foot." He cuts
saw it off, baby.
Yeah, which was awesome. The effects in this thing, man, was fantastic. Great effects. So we don't see these kinds of effects anymore.
No, we truly don't. And then, of course, it was also discovered later on, too, that Adam actually knew Dr. Gordon of who he was because he's a PI and he was hired. What was he by? Oh, yeah, he was hired by Danny Glover's character.
Matap,
to spy on Dr. Gordon. And we learned that Dr. Gordon has been seeing one of the nurses at the hospital and cheating on his wife and all that. Yeah, and again, great character development and storytelling too. And that's another big it's Adam behind this secretly and all that. Then you realize real quickly he isn't. And then continue on with the whole big Saul cut.
So yeah, he's over there. He's chopping his damn leg off. He's trying to get to the phone. He chops it off. Great effects, fantastic effects. There's blood squirting everywhere. The look on his face is like, oh. He's like freaking totally lost it. And then obviously he goes over there, he gets the phone. Like, I don't even think he even cares about it once he actually chops his foot off. But the way everything's edited is fantastic because it's cut in between Dr. Loomis, Dr. Gordon losing it over here, and then it's cut in between this foot chase this chase in general between Tap and Zepp, the bad guy here. And it's like you're thinking in your head, okay, maybe they're gonna find these guys before he actually chops his foot off or does something stupid. The way it's edited, it's going back and forth and everything, and then eventually, obviously, he chops his foot off. Zepp and Tap are duking it out, and Zepp kills Tap, and I love that. So you're like, it's getting bleaker and bleaker. Zepp goes in there.
Yeah, I was not expecting that on first watch too. I thought Tap was going to survive and all that, but no, when he got killed like that, I'm like, oh shit, where are they going to go with next in this?
Exactly, he got blown away, and then Gordon shoots freaking Adam. He's freaking blown away, supposedly. Tap comes in there, or Zepp comes in there, and then Loomis is... Why not? Loomis? That's not Loomis. Damn, Gordon he's crawling around. He's white as a damn ghost. He's like, I'll kill you. I'll kill you. And he's like just losing it. I love that. It's fantastic. Adam obviously destroys Zepp at that point, and then we get that big-ass reveal that Zepp is actually...
The biggest holy shit moment in horror history, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, dude. We get this epic reveal that Zepp, he finds him, he's patting him down. He's like, oh, where's the key? And then he finds the tape, and he's like, okay, shit. Zepp's not the bad guy here. I mean, I guess for all intents and purposes, he's still one of the bad guys, but he's not the bad guy. And it plays the tape, and then the epic freaking score plays. Jigsaw gets up, and it's the guy who's freaking dead in the middle of the floor the whole time. And then we find out he's behind all this, and it's just an epic. It's like right in front of us the whole time. Freaking epic ending, and And it's honestly one of the most epic endings in all of horror, maybe all of cinema. I don't know, but it's amazing.
Shoot, it's like been one of the best endings that I can remember from 2004 since like even 7 in 1995.
It's up. Yeah, it's definitely in that list, man. 100%. It's definitely in that category. They can be in the same ballpark all day.
Because the first time I watched it with you, I was like, holy shit. Like I was getting like chill bumps and everything. Like I'm like, I did not saw that coming. And it's I got for my puns anywhere I can, but no, it's I was just totally blown away. A perfect ending too. If of course shuts off the light and goes game over and closes it, just hear Adam scream, just ah. Oh,
and that lighting and that cinematography,
great.
Yes, right there. The lighting when he shuts the door, the green and the fog and all that.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible.
Dude, it's beautiful horror, like mastermind lighting at its best. Again, James Wan, freaking art of his class.
Yeah, 100%.
I want to throw another positive. The daughter,
go ahead.
The daughter really good. Was really good. Like she sold her role very well, and the mother, she was good for the most part. Like nothing like too great. She just played her role well. That just being the mother, caring for their daughter, and all that. So I just that's my last positive that I wanted to mention real quick.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but for my two mixes, mainly is the little crazy car chase scene. Like I get it was a budget reasoning for that, but I figure they just do away with that. Really, like they could easily just do like a whole big chasing or whatever. To get to the building and all that. Oh yeah, and of course the ever makes us, you got to take off the blue shirt and reach over and to get the cell phone. Like, but I understand like they were selling Dr. Gordon, like totally losing it, not thinking clearly, and Carl Ailes just really sold that. Just the ultimate freak out and all that. So those are like honestly my two mixes.
Yeah, I think I don't really have any mixes. I think my negatives for the movie would be just some of the acting at times is spotty, like obviously with Adam and
oh gosh, yeah, especially the freaking faking the poison scene.
Now, don't give me that. I like that scene because he's acting within acting. It's a little bit of cute. It's a little bit of
making fun of himself.
It's a little bit of comedic relief at that point because he's acting as an actor. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's two levels into that dream Inception style. But either way, we won't get into that. I think just overall his acting wasn't the best. Even at times, Cary Elwes' acting wasn't the best. He does have his moments in the movie, but there's moments where he's kind of just he's not the best. But they did again. It's a budget thing. At the end of the day, they couldn't get all these A-list actors in there, and I understand that. I get that. I mean, obviously, it's still a negative at the end of the day. If I had to pick something, and there's a couple times that there's some dumb decisions in there, but we won't nitpick those. I mean, there's some questionable choices they made. Yeah, like them just not working together when they should, and things like that. Nothing too crazy. Nothing that stands out. Nothing. Too crazy, but and then at times there were some pacing issues. I think for me, where things really slowed down with the and again, it was doing that to build the backstory, and I get it. But at the time, I'm like, I just want to be with these two dudes in a room figuring shit out, not seeing Dr. Gordon play with his daughter's toes. Like But overall, like I really love this movie. These are nitpicks. They're not a huge deal by any means.
Yeah, like you have to dig like at the bottom of the barrel for these nitpicks. Like you really honestly do. So before we do our movie, is that all for your negatives?
Yeah, that's everything for me, man.
So before we go into our movie rating, let's introduce our new segment into this series, Best Trap.
Best Trap, okay.
For each movie, because eventually we'll do a top 10 trap list later on. Yes. But what was your favorite trap in this movie? I know there wasn't a lot of them.
So my favorite one is hands down the main game here with Dr. Loomis. God, what is going on? Why is it Dr. Loomis all the time?
Like, as he chop up no.
Okay, my favorite one is the main game going on with Dr. Gordon and Adam. But as far as the other traps go, I think I'm going to have to go with the bear trap. I know you are probably as well, so I don't want to steal your thunder.
Easily. Yeah, no, that's totally fine. It's easily the reverse bear trap because that's like the most iconic trap in the whole franchise.
Yeah, for sure. That is. It keeps coming back through multiple of the movies. So that would be my favorite. Although the razor wire thing was pretty badass too.
Yeah, and the candle one to me was, I wouldn't say it's stupid, but I feel like that was very easily winnable.
It's a candle in the wind.
Or more like candle in the skin. I wonder if he liked original or extra crispy. All right, before I think more of these puns, let's go into our movie rating. I think I don't think you're going to give this a perfect score, so let me just go ahead and say it. For the longest time, I have not given this movie a perfect score. I gave it like a 4.75 out of 5, but not today, not any longer. I have officially decided this will be in my golden reels a 5 out of 5. Like there's like the mixes I can easily forgive. Like the terrible acting by Lee
Winnell.
Yeah, Lee Winnell. Yeah, like I could forgive him for that one particular thing, just again because how epic that third act was and how great it was. Like it overruns all the nitpicks and all that. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. Is it going to be a golden reel? No, unfortunately. I'm going to give it a 4.5. But that's going to give it a really high Yippee Ki Yay in our situation here, which is awesome.
4.75.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah, man. So, guys, what did you all think of Saw from 2004? Is it like, do you agree with me that it is the golden reel, that is a perfect horror movie? Or are you kind of like Brad, that it's very close to being perfect, but you can find little nitpicks that don't make it perfect? Or are you on the side that Saw's not really your thing, or you don't think Saw's a good movie at all? Let us know in that comment section down below, and let's get that discussion rolling.
And if you want to help us find the good reels, you can do so by finding us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd, Snapchat, Spotify, and Apple freaking Podcast. Those links are down there for you to find in little jigsaw pieces.
Oh, absolutely. And be sure to continue this game with us. Be sure to like this video, share, and subscribe. And, of course, ring that bell. Ding, ding, ding. So you know when the next game is up and ready in this Saw series.
And we will play a game with you later.
Game over.
Do 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 do.